Pastor Ed here with Daily Devotions for Friday, December the 15th, 2023. Other than our Generosity Tuesday, we've been unpacking that reading from last Sunday, Isaiah 41 through 11. And there's kind of two themes there, preparation, but also the theme of comfort. We talked a little bit about both. We're going to talk about preparation again today and then finish up the week tomorrow talking a little bit more about comfort and our own role in comfort. But remember again that John the Baptist came preaching as the prophet long beforehand had said, prepare the way of the Lord. And that was the theme then, hundreds of years later when John the Baptist came preaching about a repentance of sin and preparing one's heart. Stories told about a young naval officer who was undergoing his first sea training aboard a naval ship, and his responsibility was to make all the preparations, make sure everything was done and ready, and then safely steer the ship away from the wharf and set it on a course for its voyage out to sea. And so he carefully went through all the procedures of disembarking and checking out all the vitally important steps in the process. And again, step by step, he went through all of them, confident that he hadn't forgotten a single thing. And so finally the ship glided away from the wharf smoothly. The command was given for the engines to be throttled to 1/3 speed for the first 10 minutes. Men were buzzing everywhere on the bridge. The young officer was feeling pretty good about his efforts in preparing and getting ready for the voyage when a call came in from the captain. The captain congratulated the young officer for a textbook perfect disembarkation from the wharf and for doing it in a very short period of time. And then the captain added, but there's one thing you've forgotten, though, an unwritten rule when disembarking. Make sure that the captain is on board the ship when you disembark. Apparently the captain was back on the wharf, hadn't yet boarded the ship. Preparation, that's the theme of Advent, or one of the major themes of Advent. Somebody once said it ought to be the business of every day to prepare for the last day. In a Christian context, that's so true. We're in this life, we're preparing each day for that last day, whenever that might be, whether it's our last day in our individual lives or the last day of all time. We don't know really when either is going to arrive. In a similar way, Rick Warren, the mega church pastor, just recently retired out at Saddleback Church in California. He once said, and of course he wrote The Purpose-Driven Life, he said, this life is preparation for the next. This life is preparation for the next. And someone once said it's kind of like an athlete who's preparing for an upcoming season. So, for example, in basketball, which is, as football is winding down and basketball is picking up, typically a basketball coach will ask the players to do some running in practice, sprints up and down the court. And at times, in those moments in particular, it seems kind of useless. But once the season begins, the players begin to see the purpose of all that running, all that conditioning. It's to make them prepared, strong for the game, and make it through the season. And so for us as Christians, there's things such as prayer and Bible reading and worship, including the Lord's Supper, which is the food for the journey of faith, and then serving in some capacity, in some form of ministry. These are all the preparations that we do in our life for the life to come, to make us ready, to bring us more in tune with what God is looking for in our lives. They're not the end. Any one of those things, as important as they are, not end in and of themselves, but they are the means to, in a sense, the preparation for that end. So this life is preparation for the next, as Rick Warren once said. And as that other person said, it ought to be the business of every day to prepare for the last day. A fellow by the name of Chris Serber once wrote about preparing in this way. He said, my wife and I had a painter in the house this week, creating a very colorful and fun bedroom for our two youngest sons. Painter is a man who cares deeply about his craft, and in conversations with him this week, I've learned a great deal more about the nature of painting than I had previously ever considered. In painting an older home, for example, there's a lot of preparation work involved. Indeed, if the job is to look its best at the end, then it's important to fill all those cracks between the trim wood and the walls. It's equally important to fill in the gaps between the wall and the door frames and the wall. If the job is to be done properly so that it has lasting results, the window frames have to be roughed up a little bit with sandpaper, and then they have to be painted first with a primer, and only then the actual paint. Because if you don't do all the preparation work, then the results are far less likely to last under difficult conditions, especially like the conditions of having my active boys and their St. Bernard playing around in the bedroom. He goes on to say the primer is so important that if you do not use it or apply it properly, it's possible for the paint to just slide off as you apply it. When applied, the paint has to be able to stick to the wall to get proper coverage. In this case, we were using some very high pigment Disney colors, and because of the saturation of the colorant in the paint, when it's applied to a smooth wall or window frame without the proper preparation work, the paint would just slip and drip and slide all over the place. All the effort in this case would do little more than spread the pigment around in streaks and blotches, but never cause it to adhere. Though you would work for days on end without the proper preparation work, the paint would never cover the way it should have. John the Baptist came talking about preparation, about preparing our hearts, the necessary work of preparing our hearts for the coming of Jesus. Well, hope you have a great day. We're going to be back with you one more day to talk about that Isaiah lesson, but the comfort aspect of it and what comfort means in our lives. Till then, take care. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.